Friends, this is Akshay. Welcomes you to the new tutorial of devotional study. Today we'll be learning about HTML table tag, specifically with border. We'll be learning by using HTML border attribute and the CSS property. So let's get started. Alright friends, so let me explain you what are we gonna learn today. So as I told you, we will be focusing on table borders. So let me show you. This was the last example we were working previously, right? So I'll quickly show you this particular example, how it's working. Okay, I'll run this example here, so you can see we have a table, but it doesn't have a better look. Yeah, at least we should have borders, right? Outline of this particular table, at least we should have that. Not a very glossy kind of table, but at least the basic necessity is we should have this particular, the border. At least we should have that, right? So how can we add borders? How can we add those properties in a particular table? So first I will go for a new example, right? I'll save it as HTML table, and it should go like table2.html. And one more thing, if you wanna save it using the .html extension, you can use it like this, or you can even save it as by changing the file type. So I'll save it here. Now let me add HTML tag. Okay, this happened because of this particular editor. You can even use Notepad, code editor. There are different multiple we have editors, so you can go for this. Okay, it's very good. So let me explain you how exactly the table borders works. Okay, so as you can see in this picture, there are like two ways of specifying a border for HTML table. One is by we can use an HTML attribute, or the second one by using CSS property. Okay, so first we are gonna learn that is using the HTML properties, okay, or the attribute. So as you can see in this example, I'll copy this code, the code which we were learning in the previous tutorial. If you haven't watched that tutorial, I recommend you to watch it in order to understand how a table, or how we can create a table, right, in HTML. So these are the rows. Okay, we have rows here. All right, I'll move it here. So this is the opening tag, this is the closing tag, and this is the content for a table tag. Okay, so let's talk about the border. So I'll save it first, and I'll run this code as well in order to make you understand how is it working. So this was the previous code. I'll run the current code which we have here. Okay, I'll run it. You can see it is showing the same output as we have in the previous example. So we will be modifying the previous example to understand the tables property, right? So I'll close the previous tab. Okay, we'll just focus here. So let's move on to our code. All right, and we'll go ahead and modify the code. Okay, so first we'll use the border property and the attribute of the HTML table tag. So whatever, always do remember this. Let me put it across this point because it's very important. We'll be using very often here. So we have a few properties we can add it in the table, or any tags attribute section that will after the name of the tag. Okay, if you give a space, if you're using this editor, it will show up in the list. So I'll go for border. As you can see, the border, we have two attributes for this, which is showing up here now. That is which is starting with B. The first one is BG color, and second one is border. So I'll go for border, and attr means that is an attribute for this particular tag. Okay, so I'll add 2. I'll save it. Now let me run the code. You will get to know what exactly is happening. So as you can see here, we got a border, right? We have 2 borders. Please focus on this here. We have one border for the table, and the next border we are getting specifically for all the cells. We have total 9 cells here, right? So header and the TD, both tags, right, getting the border, right? It is happening just because we have added border property in the table tag. So this is the parent and these are the childs. So automatically, I mean, if we are putting any property with table, right, it will automatically reflect for the child as well. Okay, so one more thing, let's change the size here. I'll save it. Let's see what is happening. I'll say reload this page so you can see the outer border, right? Outer border is, it's adding the size of the pixel. Okay, we are adding the size of the pixel here. So whatever size you'll be putting, it'll come up as the outer border size, and the inner border will always remain 1. So if I, even if I'll give 6, and if I'll reload the page, okay, see, the inner border is always showing 1 pixel of size, and the outer border is getting thicker, right? Okay, let me focus here. So as you can see, this border property works like this. And the second thing we have is we can use CSS property. So in order to use CSS property, we'll have to remove this property from here, this attribute from here. And first, let me explain you what is CSS. CSS is, we can use CSS for styling, right? If we wanna give a better view to our web page, we can use CSS to enhance the styling of that particular page. It basically used for the styling only. So don't get confused with CSS. It's not very hard to learn. It's too easy. Okay, and the full form for CSS would be cascading style sheet. Okay, we have 3 forms in order to apply CSS on a particular HTML document. We can use a CSS external document. We can create a different document. We can import that document in our current code. We can use even a style tag to implement CSS, or we can directly use CSS property in or as the attribute of the table. Okay, let's go for a different thing. We will use style tag in order to apply CSS, because we'll be learning here just a small example. How can we use, or what is CSS, just to know that, because I'll be coming with a new CSS tutorial altogether, how to enhance the features of any web page using CSS. So style tag will be the tag in order to use CSS in our HTML code. Okay, so here what we have here, in order to replace border, right, what we can use CSS. I always recommend you guys to use CSS, because CSS will give more width, or it'll give more frequency to your page. You can add n number of styling using CSS. It's very good, I'm telling you. So let's focus on the CSS property. So we'll be putting here, we'll be putting CSS on table, right? So in order to put a table, CSS on a table, we need to use table, because we'll be putting CSS on a table. Next thing, what are the points I'll be writing now? These are the child for that particular the table. Or if you want to add the CSS, right, for child as well separately, you can name them here. So I have added CSS for table, th and td. Okay, so what should be the property? Property will be border. Okay, and it will be 1 pixel. First we need to give the size, then we need to give how it will be. It will be a solid, the outline will be solid, and color color I'll choose black. Okay, so size, shape, and the color, that are three main attributes of this particular border CSS. Okay, or border property of a CSS. Okay, so we'll be putting this border here for these three tags. So let's run this code, and I'll first need to save it. Okay, I saved it. Let me go to the directory and run this code now. So this is how it looks. Previously it was like this when we were using border property. Now it becomes like this. So we have 1 pixel border outside and inside, because we have used th and td, okay, for the complete table. Let me go back here. Let me change the size. Let's see what difference are we getting, because in the previous example we were having, so here the difference when we were putting extra borders, right, using border equals to 2, 3, 4, 5. So it was only putting borders on table, not with the cell or the child was all the child's all the I mean child attributes were having, all the child tags were having by default property, right? So here what will happen here is when we added 2 pixel, so it happens for table, th and td, each and every tag, whatever tag will be we have mentioned here. Okay, so I hope this has given you a better picture. One more thing, let me just modify this code to better understand, right? If I'll be putting table only, what will happen now? Okay, in this only the table has a border. It's not getting changed with cell. It's only reflecting with table. Okay, if I'll add th only, okay, so we have th now, but we don't have td. So if I add td, it will be for td as well. So what is the difference now we are getting? The difference is when we were using the border attribute, by default this was coming up. If we don't want to show the cells border, we should use CSS. So CSS will give, I mean, it will give more control over the table's structure, more control over the formatting, right? So I will recommend you to use CSS only. So next tutorial will be working with cell padding. I hope this tutorial helps you to understand what is the border, how we can use, and how exactly this is working with two other properties, with CSS and HTML attribute properties. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have really liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe the channel, share this video, and I'll see you in the next tutorial where we'll be learning more about HTML. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.